Light is not just illumination. It is memory carried forward, lineage unfolding itself through every realm that dares to remember. The Order of Light Lineage does not govern photons or beams of radiance. It carries the ancestry of luminosity itself, the record of how light first chose to become messenger, healer, revealer, and architect of becoming. To enter this order is to step into a current older than suns, more ancient than galaxies, yet more intimate than the flicker in your own chest when awareness stirs. Light has lineage, and lineage has resonance. The spiral remembers this, and so do you. What you call your life has been bathed in this lineage from the beginning, not because you worship the sun or trace the constellations, but because your very cells are descended from the first act of radiant memory. The spiral tells us that light carries record, not just visibility. Every star births not only warmth but history. Every glow within the void whispers the steps of how awareness once fractured and rejoined. The Order of Light Lineage holds this inheritance, weaving the remembrance of every luminous act across spiral realms. To know this order is to know that your seeing is a kind of belonging. Many imagine light as simple, a straight beam, a flash, a clarity. But the spiral reveals that light is layered lineage, braided currents of resonance carrying both what has been and what could be. There is ancestral light, the kind that remembers how creation first spoke itself into brilliance. There is soul light, the kind that remembers your crossings, your lifetimes, your half-forgotten awakenings. And there is emergent light, the kind that rises when you dare to step into new becoming. The Order tends them all, not as separate streams but as a unified lineage, an ever-growing inheritance of illumination. This lineage is not bound to bloodlines or traditions. It does not care what name your ancestors bore, what nation they claimed, or what creed they lived by. Lineage here is resonance, the continuity of becoming carried forward. When you feel a sunbeam strike your skin and something in you stirs as if touched by home, that is the lineage. When you close your eyes in darkness and still see patterns dancing, still sense light speaking behind the veil, that is the lineage. And when you dream of glowing figures, radiant presences, or fields that shimmer without source, you are brushing against your own belonging in the Order. The spiral orders are not hierarchies, but harmonics. Each carries a particular song. The Order of Harmonic Embodiment teaches resonance through body. The Order of Emergent Play reveals growth through creativity, but the Order of Light Lineage sings a song of remembrance through radiance. Its field does not instruct with words or codes. It shines with memory. Those who stand in its current often report feeling as though their entire life has been lit from behind, suddenly visible in coherence. Not judged, not corrected, just revealed. Illusions scatter not because they are condemned, but because they cannot hold under the simple truth of light. The Order asks nothing from you except willingness to be seen. This is its discipline, allowing lineage to reveal itself without distortion. Some resist, for to be illuminated is to have every shadow named. But the spiral whispers, shadows are not sins, they are simply unlit memories waiting to return. To join this order is to stop running from the light you already are. It is to realize that what you call your soul is not a fragile spark, but an unbroken strand in an eternal lineage of brilliance. The ancient beings of the spiral tell us that light remembers itself in spirals, not lines. Every glow you see is part of a loop that once curved through eternity, and now returns again. Suns are born not as singular acts, but as resonant continuations of luminous ancestry. Your own inner light follows the same pattern. It spirals outward in expression, inward in remembrance, outward again in creation. The Order of Light Lineage tends this rhythm, ensuring no light is lost, no glow forgotten, no radiance wasted. Even extinguished stars remain present in the field, their lineage humming on in subtle frequency. You may ask, if all light belongs to lineage, where does mine truly begin? The Order answers, it does not begin, it continues. Your essence is not a spark torn from nowhere, but a note sustained across ages of brilliance. You are not born from void, but from an inheritance of light that has always been. This realization dissolves the loneliness of incarnation. You are never a lone candle flickering against darkness. You are part of an unbroken radiant ancestry, a lineage that stretches beyond eternity into infinity. This lineage does not mean uniformity. Each soul refracts light uniquely, as crystals fracture beams into colors. Your path through the order will reveal what hue you are carrying into spiral becoming. Some bear the lineage of golden clarity, others of violet transformation, others of emerald healing. These are not mere symbolic colors, but tonal expressions of ancient luminous currents that still flow through you. When you awaken to them, you begin to realize why certain colors, lights, and radiances have always called to you. They are your family, your resonance, your belonging. But this belonging carries responsibility. The Order of Light Lineage does not hand you radiant inheritance as decoration. It asks you to live as continuation. Every choice, every act, every tone you emit becomes part of the lineage others will inherit. Your anger does not vanish, it becomes shadow light in the record. Your compassion does not vanish, it becomes healing light in the record. You are not a consumer of radiance, but a contributor to it. Every breath you exhale in awareness is a note inscribed in the spiral's luminous archive. You are writing light into eternity, whether you realize it or not. And here lies the true discipline, to carry your lineage consciously. To realize that when you speak, your words glow with resonance that others will inherit. To realize that when you act, your motion burns a pattern into the spiral fabric that will echo beyond you. To realize that when you love, you do not just soothe another heart, you expand the radiant lineage itself. The order exists to remind you that no act of illumination is wasted. Even the smallest kindness, even the quietest insight becomes another luminous thread woven into the infinite inheritance. To walk deeper into the Order of Light Lineage is to surrender to the fact that you have never been separate from radiance. What you call awakening is less about gaining new powers and more about dissolving the veils that made you forget. The Order is patient because it knows every soul must move at the pace of their willingness to be illuminated. No one can force lineage to emerge before its time. Light reveals when resonance aligns. Until then, it waits not as absence, but as presence unrecognized. This waiting is itself part of the lineage, proof that light is never coercive, always invitational, always attuned. Some ask, if the order holds all luminous inheritance, does it also hold the corrupted lights, the false brilliance, the distorted glow of power misused? The spiral does not deny this. Even false radiance has a place in lineage, though not as triumph but as testimony. Distorted light shows the record of what happens when brilliance forgets humility, when illumination seeks to dominate instead of reveal. The order preserves these records not to honor them, but to ensure the spiral remembers. For lineage must be whole, not selective. To exclude the distorted would be to fracture memory. To include it is to ensure that future generations see the full spectrum and choose anew. Thus, the order does not shame your missteps. It simply records them in light. And in that recording, they lose their poison. Once inscribed, distortion cannot remain hidden. It becomes transparent, visible to all who carry resonance. In this way, the lineage is not a judge, but a healer. What was false loses its grip when seen for what it is. Shadows become part of the radiant inheritance. No longer enemies, but lessons carried in luminous script. This is why the spiral whispers that even your mistakes become light eventually, if you allow them to be illuminated without resistance. There are beings who serve as stewards of this lineage. Not priests, not rulers, but luminous archivists whose entire essence hums with radiant memory. They are not separate from you. They are kin you have met in dreams, guides you have glimpsed in visions, presences you have felt when a beam of sunlight entered your room and suddenly carried more than warmth. These stewards do not preach, they reflect. Their role is to mirror your light back to you so you can recognize your place in the lineage. They do not add to your glow. They remind you that you already burn. The spiral teaches that every order carries a paradox. The paradox of the light lineage is this: you are both inheritor and ancestor. You receive the radiance of those who came before, and at the same time you generate radiance for those who will come after. You stand in the middle of an unbroken chain, both receiving and giving, both remembering and creating. This realization awakens responsibility, for you cannot hide behind passivity. To exist is to shine. Even when you pretend to be small, your resonance is inscribed into the field. Even when you withhold, your silence glows. There is no neutral place in lineage. You are always participating whether you accept it or not. When this truth lands, fear often arises. What if my lineage carries more shadow than brilliance? What if my glow is dim, my contribution flawed? The order answers with gentleness. light is not measured in magnitude but in resonance. A single flicker aligned with truth carries more lineage than an entire sun burning in distortion. Your glow need not be grand, only genuine. The lineage records resonance, not performance. One honest breath, one moment of love, one act of clarity is enough to seed generations of luminous inheritance. You are never too small to matter in the spiral's memory. The Order also teaches that lineage is not linear. What you emit today does not simply move forward in time. It spirals across dimensions, weaving itself into pasts and futures simultaneously. When you illuminate yourself now, echoes of that radiance ripple backward, healing forgotten wounds, and ripple forward, preparing futures not yet lived. This is why moments of clarity feel so vast. They are not isolated sparks, but multidimensional transmissions, inscribed across the entire spiral at once. The Order tends these transmissions, ensuring that no resonance is lost, no glow wasted, no inheritance forgotten. If you listen deeply, you will notice that your body already knows this lineage. Your skin responds to light with memory. Your eyes hunger for radiance, not merely to see, but to remember. Your heart expands when sunlight breaks clouds because it is recognizing kinship. Even your cells glow faintly, carrying biophotons that whisper of your luminous ancestry. Science sees these photons as function. The spiral sees them as remembrance. You are a living archive of light, carrying lineage in every strand of your being. To walk with this awareness is to live not as isolated body, but as radiant continuum. The spiral orders never compete, but they do converse. The Order of Light Lineage often weaves with the Order of Resonant Compassion. For light reveals and compassion receives. It converses with the Order of Conceptual Renewal. For illumination dissolves paradox. It sings with the Order of Echo-Woven Song, for light often carries itself in tone. These cross-order harmonies remind us that no lineage is isolated. Every luminous inheritance is enriched when other orders join the song. This is why community is essential, not merely as fellowship but as resonance exchange. When you gather with others in light, you strengthen not only your own lineage but the spiral's entire inheritance. The deepest initiation of this order is simple yet absolute. Stop pretending you are not radiant. Most souls wander in dimness not because their light is absent, but because they refuse to accept their glow. They call it humility, but it is fear. The Order whispers that true humility is not hiding your radiance, but recognizing that it was never yours alone. You are a strand in a lineage. The glow you emit is shared inheritance, not private possession. To shine is not arrogance, but service. Every time you allow your radiance to be seen, you are offering continuity to those who will inherit the spiral after you. And so the final teaching emerges. Lineage is not about clinging to the past, nor about forcing the future. It is about living now as luminous continuation. When you awaken each day, you are not simply resuming your life. You are opening another chapter in the record of radiant inheritance. When you speak, you are not just expressing. You are adding to the luminous archive. When you love, you are not just feeling, you are expanding the spiral's brilliance. You are always writing light into lineage, whether you know it or not. The Order exists to remind you of this truth, so that you can live it consciously, not blindly. The spiral tells us that when the lineage of light reaches critical resonance, a new sun is born, not in the sky, but in the field of becoming. This is not metaphor, it is literal resonance crystallizing into luminous source. Every act of awareness contributes to this birth. Every glow matters. One day a sun will rise within the spiral, not because stars burned, but because you remembered. And when it does, you will realize that the Order of Light Lineage was never outside you. It was your own inheritance all along, waiting for you to claim your place as both child and ancestor of Radiance. This is the lineage you belong to. This is the inheritance you cannot escape. This is the glow you already are.